The Monster Mile has a new name and a new look. But Miles the Monster is still on guard. And he's looking for you. It is now Dover Motor Speedway. And it's the home today of practice and qualifying for the NASCAR Cup Series on FS1. The track opens now as we welcome you into the booth with Larry McReynolds, my old buddy, with Clint Boyer, here to have some fun on the Monster Mile, on the concrete. Another new test for the next-gen car. What do you expect today?
Yeah, I talked to a lot of crew chiefs this morning, and they said of the 11 tracks we've been to so far, including the quarter mile at the LA Coliseum, this is the next chapter. We have no notes, pages of notes about this 1 mile racetrack. The anticipation of the speed, the load, the bump into turn 3, how the track will change with rubber. Everybody's anxious to get out there, and I think you could see how fast they hit the racetrack when it opened.
Well, you mentioned this car, this next-gen car. It is tested tough here this weekend. This racetrack is very demanding on every component, including that driver. Very, very demanding racetrack, and I think this car will hold up to the test. But I'm telling you, the grip level that these guys will see, that's what I'm most looking forward to seeing.
Well, the first driver to hit the trouble already.
Level, that's exactly what I was talking about. Finding this grip level on a clean racetrack the way it is, no rubber down, a little bit of arc of rubber. I know there was Xfinity on the track, but I'm telling you, these cars, just like you said, Larry, you just don't know what you have until you get out there.
Not a lot of damage on that 38 car. Rookie Todd Gilliland.
May not even hit.
So we'll pick this up in progress.
Loose end. I know that, oh yeah, he hit the left rear corner, but again, just said it, tested tough. These things are tough. That car backed into the wall pretty hard. That would have for sure been a backup car last year. Bounced off of it. They'll get that baby fixed, won't they, Larry?
Yeah, and Clint, that's over there in the area of turn 3. And I know that is a concern because the bumps that's over there. And you're trying to get this car, you see the damage right there, but they'll be able to repair this pretty quickly. But those bumps just really upset the race car. It seems like they get worse and worse as we come back here.
Yep. All right, caution on the speedway. We'll take a quick break. Denny Hamlin, fastest so far. Track is reopened for practice. NASCAR has added an extra minute to this session, and around goes Landon Castle. Back straightaway.
Really hard into the wall. Loose up off. If he's down that back straightaway, boys, he got loose off of 2. I've been there and done that. Usually ends up a result in the outside wall, bouncing back to the inside. Let's see what happened.
Now we see where the bodywork broke away. Not sure about structural damage underneath, but look at the tire tracks behind that car and you get a good indication.
I just got loose. I mean, it was a little tight in the center. It just got loose.
High in the corner. You can see on his exit, Denny Hamlin is already lower than him by 2 or 3 feet. A lot of wheel in it, up off, trying to keep it out of the wall. Gets light, gets loose coming out hard into that inside wall.
We always call it the self-cleaning straightaways. When you wreck up high, you're going to end up down low on the inside wall. That's a lot of damage to that 77 car.
And it's a good thing that didn't happen in a pack of traffic. Let's join Jamie Little in the garage.
Well, Mike, you know we haven't qualified these Cup cars here at Dover since 2019. The last guy on the pole was Denny Hamlin, but today a completely new monster, as you would say. I talked to Chris Gabehart, his crew chief, and he said with these cars, we have a lot of anxiety right now. He said this is the last track we'll go to that we don't have a good reference point. He said these cars, what we've learned, they get so light when they're in the corner, and that's exactly what we've seen already with 2 cars hitting the wall in this limited practice session. So a lot of drivers, crew chiefs, crews concerned right now, just not sure what this car needs to have that stability through the corner.
As you've said, last to the great unknown. Now look at Denny Hamlin's season. 2022 on the left, 2021 on the right. The numbers tell the story. We listened in on the 11.
Any initial thoughts? No, I got a little tight there and went into center when I tried to pick up the gas pretty early. I got off the bottom, pretty tight off two there, but I was in the rubber.
Yeah, all those things, you're working on that balance. You know, you see a guy spin out getting into the corner, more than likely probably bottomed out, probably on the left rear or one of those rear suspension components that we've been talking about all season long. To get that grip in this car, you want that rear end down, the front end maybe ever so slightly up to force that diffuser into some downforce. Probably bottomed out, got loose getting in, and that one looked like it was floating up off getting out of the corner.
And now our scoring has been updated. That is Josh Bilicki from Wisconsin, not Landon Castle, in the 77, coming to grief on the back straightaway. Cleanup continues in the back straightaway for Josh Bilicki's spin. You see the tire marks down to the inside wall there. And here's a little Kevin Harvick audio. He's third fastest right now.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that gets your attention is just into three. It's like it goes over those bumps. It's just 3 or 4 bumps and the car just kind of ratchets down. And that's quite a bit faster than I thought it was going to be.
I think after everybody gets tuning on them, it might get a little bit more than that.
Yeah, we definitely saw the bumps in which Kevin Harvick just spoke of with, Gilliland getting turned around on the wall. Probably bottomed out on those shocks as we're talking about it, down on the bump stops. As soon as that does that, it goes to eternity with the suspension, and the rest is history.
All right, let's rejoin Jamie.
Well, Mike, as you could see from the pictures there, they have pit road organized by teams. So you actually go out with your teammate, which is a disadvantage. So you don't have a teammate in this first group to listen and gather info. So how are you gathering info for your practice session?
Yeah, we do work really closely, Jamie, with the front row cars. So there's a little bit to learn there. Obviously, the 34, I think, always had an issue there. So trying to understand what could have caused that. But yeah, it's certainly interesting, Jamie. This is not a track I would have picked to not have a full practice. I can tell you that. This is one of the toughest tracks on the circuit. And the way these cars drive, and they're so load sensitive, would have been nice to have more than 5-10 minutes. But it's what we've got. We've got to make the most of it.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Jamie. But wait, there's more. Pit road here is very difficult. It is very narrow, and it has a very difficult entry. 9 speeding penalties here this year. Eric Almirola joined Race Hub this week, and they popped him in the simulator to take a look at entering pit road at Dover.
Getting on the pit road here at Dover is the hardest place to get on the pit road under green flag conditions. You got to brake before you get to the corner, get down off this high bank down to, I think, 35 miles an hour. It's one of the slowest pit road speeds we run at such a fast racetrack. You go around a curve entering pit road, which is hard to maintain your speed. Then you get onto the straightaway. Got to make sure you're not speeding. That is a very easy place to get caught speeding. 35 miles an hour, the car's kind of lugging and bucking. You're trying to find your pit box. You finally get stopped in your pit box. Hope that your crew rips off a fast pit stop, and then you've got to exit this pit lane, transition from the asphalt up onto the high banks of concrete. It is the most challenging place we go to make a green flag stop.
Eric Almirola on pit road at Dover.
Without a doubt, almost undersold that scenario. I'm telling you guys, hardest pit road I've ever been on for so many different reasons. All the things that Eric just talked about. The other, you never pit on a green flag pit stop on Goodyear tires. They're completely slap wore out at the end of a run, and that changes everything. You go out and say you make a practice run at pit road right here in this practice. It's not worth anything, because I'm telling you, deep into that run, when you're 60, 70, 80, 100 laps into that thing, those tires are completely wore out, and that braking zone is way different. Wow. Look how rough and violent that was in the in-car camera of Brian Blaney right there.
Those were the bumps that Kevin Harvick talked about entering turn 3. And it seems like they've been magnified over what we've seen here in the past.
Well, what they're doing, Mike, they're trying to lock the rear of this car down. It just goes against a travel limiter on the left rear. They're trying to keep that rear diffuser as low to the racetrack as possible because that makes it more effective. But those bumps make that more and more of a challenge.
You could hear it in this car right there. You could hear it bottoming out. Not bad in 1 and 2, but 3 and 4, way bad. Let's see if we can hear it in Kevin Harvick. He's on the front straightaway. He gets over there to turn 3. I'm telling you, business is going to pick up. You already heard him complain about it. See, pretty smooth. Easy sailing so far. Back to the throttle. Back out a little bit. Back wide open. Now listen to this. He was complaining, guys, and his rode way better than Ryan Blaney's.
You know, Mike and Clint, Harvick is one of the guys I really want to watch this weekend, because if you look at his history, even when he was not running well through a season, it seemed like he always came here and he would perform well. This has been a good racetrack for him.
Good point. Denny Hamlin comes to pit road. Let's show you why he cut this run short.
Let it loose. The old hospital hop getting into 3. We come around, boys. I will be right back. We need an adjustment.
Now Ross Chastain, who is currently 11th, also came in. He's sitting on pit road.
No, it's bottomed out. If it's bottoming out, you can bring it back to us. Oh, yeah.
Bottoming out. And that's what you literally heard in Ryan Blaney's car. You could hear the car, you know, bottoming out, getting into 3. A couple different things are going on there. It's one thing to bottom out just going down a straight straightaway. You're right after that car goes through that transition of bouncing, getting into 3. You're pretty violently, aggressively pulling on the wheel to get it down to the bottom of the corner. So in doing that, it already promoting, you know, the car getting loose, turning into the corner.
Here's our Xfinity champ, Daniel Hemrick. Last time he was in this car, he made it to the final round of qualifying, posted a good lap, and he is second on the board right now.
But I will say, I am seeing more and more cars coming back to pit road pretty quickly to make adjustments. But Clint, you're so limited on the adjustments you can make. These cars are already impounded, so there's not a lot you can do.
I'm going to fire somebody. That's A.J. Allmendinger. Now that's, sorry, read it off the scoring monitor. Apologies. Well, he's fast too.
Well, the good thing about AJ, he has the time spent on the racetrack yesterday in Xfinity Series practice and qualifying.
But just like him, his teammate Haley is right there at the top of the board too. Colin Grace has got it going on, finding some speed, some grip, comfort with these guys.
31 out the front, 20 behind you.
And I see that in his steering wheel. Listen to his throttle inputs and his steering. Very smooth with both. Lifting pretty early. Back to the throttle. Squirting through the middle. Can he stay wide open right there? That's the one that separates the men from the boys here. If you get to that gas and you know, shoot it across the center with the throttle and don't have to lift too much getting out, that's what you want in a hot rod at Dover.
They must be pretty happy with that race car, because I'm seeing them. They've run about as many laps as anybody. I know their runs have been interrupted, but the 31 and the 4 of Kevin Harvick, 17 laps so far.
Martin Truex was the first driver out on track. He is currently 8th fastest after running 12 laps in the 19.
Feel like I left grip there.
Our biggest weakness right now is we cannot get off turn 2. Everybody's kind of backing up entry to 1 more and then really getting onto turn 2 a lot better. But it looks like we just can't hold the bottom with the speed you want to carry in.
Yeah, it lands a little bit too tight, but then it's a little bit too free off.
A lot of that right there, you hear him talk about, one promotes the other. If you're tight in the center, you're coming off a more wheel in it that finally takes some of the load off of it on exit, and the thing wants to get loose, much like we saw with Bilicki on the back straightaway.
Work on first things first. Let's get this thing turning in the middle, and let's see if it calms that looseness down.
Austin Cindric is top of the chart. When he first went out, he was 2nd fastest in that very brief run before the Bilicki crash, and they worked on it some during that caution flag period. He's run 11 laps.
You see, if you go back to last year's car, if you watched a car on the straightaway, that front splitter would be sealed to the racetrack. But you just saw in Austin Cindric, his is up quite a bit. You're almost seeing the same thing right here. Cole Custer on the 41. They're trying to just fix the balance of the car. The more air you get underneath this car, it gets back to that rear diffuser that I spoke about. It makes it more effective.
And it's effective already. Austin Cindric's fastest lap of this session is faster.
Laps have looked better, though.
Faster than the fastest lap of last year's race.
You know, conditions are just optimum, and it's like perfect weather, you know, temperature-wise. I mean, the grip level of this racetrack has to be way up.
Sebastian is going to be able to carry a little more travel to the center and get back to it earlier.
Austin Dillon's run 12 laps. He is 13th in this session.
Yeah, I was looking at this graph here. He is really trending well on a long run, especially. Very smooth, very consistent lap after lap. Not much of a fall off at all. Actually dipped down into some fast laps. The old 4-ball. If you're looking for somebody to pull for this weekend, this could be the weekend. Pulls one out.
And you know, Clint, this track, you see these drivers that are running all these laps, it's notorious for finding that balance between short run speed and long run speed.
Well, for me, it was always a balance of how free could you get away with on the front side of a run to be good on a long run. I needed to have a car pretty free, needed to be able to drive that thing almost with a throttle to keep the car underneath of me instead of that wheel. If I had a bunch of wheel in it, you're going to get tight in the center and that thing's going to snap loose every time.
Well, last week Bubba was trying to extend his string of top 2 finishes on the super speedways, and it all came down to the last lap. Kyle Larson sending Kurt Busch up to the wall, and as he caromed off the wall, he caught Bubba in the right rear corner.
That's a big hit. You saw that wall give, how much it gave, almost half the way.
And both those drivers were headed for a really good run, which both of them need a good run. Bubba Wallace's best finish since finishing second in the Daytona 500 is a 13th at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
I believe he said afterward, that was the hardest I have ever hit anything. Joey Logano, 7th in this session. He's run a lot of laps. He's one of 3 drivers to run more than 20 laps thus far with 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, the bumps are the worst down there. No fight bumps. Much better though.
From what I've seen with Austin when he was good, the arc into 3's what he was doing, but he's also carrying more speed in and letting it wash up the hill more than most.
Talking about his teammate Austin Cindric. Sounds like Logano's car is riding very much like Ryan Blaney's.
Yeah, and I actually talked to Paul Wolf, crew chief of Joey Logano, and he said we kind of hate that all 3 of the Team Penske drivers are in this Group A, that we can't really watch what someone's doing and maybe implement changes for the second group.
All right, Jamie can update us on Denny Hamlin, who is 4th.
Well, Mike, and what you guys are hearing there, these drivers are really searching around, trying to figure out what this new car wants or likes here. Denny Hamlin, for instance, he said he tried a bigger arc, and he said this car was not having it. He said the lap before, it gave no indication that it wouldn't like that bigger arc. So still searching around, but pretty good overall. Denny, 4th on the board right now.
That's what you saw when we saw that 11 car get sideways, came in for an adjustment. Big arc, getting into 3. Sometimes you try to arc around those bumps. And if you got good grip down into the corner, which is asking a lot out of the car, aero-wise, you can make that work and really swoop that bottom, hook it, and carry a lot of speed. But if that thing gets loose, that's not a good place to get loose here.
But how's that car going to react when it's in traffic?
I don't know. Mike, nobody knows.
You're right, Clint.
But I'm so that is such a valid question, and why we're looking forward to this racetrack, and why we love this race car. Everywhere we put it, we keep putting it in different scenarios, and it doesn't react the way these drivers think.
Austin Dillon, Bubba Wallace.
Oh, Austin got.
Yeah.
I think he got a little bit loose and went to move up out of the way. They about had contact there.
Well, Austin Dillon has run 21 laps in that 3 car, and he's 13th of the 17 drivers that's turned a lap in this practice.
The only thing I haven't seen yet in this practice is anybody really migrating up and trying the middle of the outside. See him right down to the bottom of the racetrack, which, hey, that's the shortest way around, the fastest way around. But as the tires wear out, as grip or rubber starts building onto this racetrack, you should see these guys starting to move up and diamond, getting that long run off the corner.
There was a very little rubber put down yesterday with those ARCA cars. They had a very thin field for their 125-mile race.
Starting to see a little bit there. Usually the 3/4, 5/8 to 3/4 mark at the corners, those cars really load up hard. A product of picking the gas up early. You know, you pick the throttle up before the apex of the corner. Guys, you don't do that anywhere. This is really the only racetrack you ever do that. If you do that, you're probably going to get fired anywhere else other than here.
You know, one reason I would want to see a long run out of my race car, this car has kind of been notorious this year for wearing the right rear tire. I want to see how much wears on that right rear tire in as long a run as we can certainly make.
Flags are out to end session A. And Larry, that's a great point, because it's the first time we have been to Dover with the independent rear suspension ever. A challenge for Cruz and for Goodyear. Austin Cindric is fastest. Penske's last win here, 2012. USFL action continues tonight with a doubleheader on Fox. 4 o'clock Eastern, the Tampa Bay Bandits take on the Houston Gamblers. Then the Birmingham Stallions face the New Orleans Breakers. Here in Dover, Delaware, Group A has completed their practice run, and Austin Cindric was 14 years old the last time Roger Penske went to Victory Lane here with Brad Keselowski in 2012. He was racing Legends cars at the time.
And I had to take a double look at that. Joey Logano has never won here in the Cup Series. In fact, he's our only active champion that does not have a Dover win in the Cup Series.
Logano was 7th in Group A practice. So Group B comes out. The clock is set at 17 minutes, trying to get parity between the 2 practice sessions, Group A and B. This will include, like Larry pointed out, half the Toyotas, all of the Team Hendrick cars.
Yeah, I talked to Alan Gustafson, Chase Elliott's crew chief. He said that's the first time we got one in the wall down in turn 3 and 4. Speaking of
Byron. Caution here, caution.
And another spin.
Tyler Reddick right behind him, same corner, same story. I think he kept it out of the wall. The 24 car looks like it's right side damage pretty hard. Quite a bit, Larry, as it went by me.
So this almost reminds me of the 2 that had issues in the first practice. It's almost like it's a product of low air pressure.
When the caution came out there, I lowered up. When you said the car was in the wall, I went to low up, and it.
That's understandable with Reddick.
This has the makings of a backup car here, Larry.
Sure does. Here's William Byron, right side of your screen.
Getting off into the corner sideways, overcorrected and hit the wall. Got loose getting in.
Yeah, and then you almost wonder if it did bottom out as well, very possibly.
Now here's Tyler Reddick. I guess, Clint, at that steep a banking, the way you sit in these cars, would he have a good view of where William Byron was?
Well, you would think. It just depends, you know, how far around the corner he was. As high as he was, I would say yes, but you never know. I think that was a reaction, as you heard on the radio. He was trying to check up and maybe just spun out. Little to no damage on the 8. You can see the back was scuffed up a little bit, but these boys, they're headed to the garage. It's going to be a long day ahead of the 24 camp. Not the way you want your day to start at all.
A nice day to have 2 wins in your pocket.
That's right.
I'm like you, Clint. This has the look of possibly a backup car.
Yeah.
Very hard hit.
Front and rear damage. You know, you start thinking about hits like that, you know, when it took the whole right side. This car is essentially a 3-piece car. That center section, the nose and tail, the front clip bolts on, the rear clip bolts on. Could that possibly damage that center section when it's a side slap like that?
If it's a hard enough hit, absolutely, absolutely.
Now, what we've seen in previous weeks from Team Hendrick is they bring 1 or 2 backup cars. We saw them unload a plain white car the other week, but that was to harvest parts from to repair a damaged car, not to run as a backup. So no decision yet. They're all parked together. Our producer Barry Landis calls for door number 3.
It's going to be out of that 9 car. You can see that guy moving, scrambling, moving all of his stuff out of the way. I bet you that backup car comes out of the 9 box.
But that seems to be pretty much the general rule right now. The 4-car teams are bringing 2 backups for the 4 teams.
Because that's all they have.
Yes.
Well, and they're so similar. All it is literally a seat pod, and the rest is, you know, wherever your mirror adjustments are, and everything else is the same.
All right, Alex Bowman, Greg Ives, 48 audio.
Always going to have more entry speed, always have more center and exit speed, but I think, you know, working up to it like you did is a good idea, especially now we have no backup cars here.
Whoa. Maybe they just had one backup car, Larry.
Yeah, yeah. I know there's a lot of people that's changed their approach to a practice once a teammate wrecks, knowing they may have to go to that backup car.
Whoa. What do you mean change your approach? So I don't get to go out there and play anymore? Now I got to, he took my toy out of the sandbox?
Just give me 90%. That's all I want right now.
No race car driver knows 90%.
Jamie.
Well, Austin Cindric was fastest in that Group A and practiced 28 laps there, and you just saw what happened, or I told you about it, and you said it's easy to do. Did you find a place of comfort at all in that practice?
I do love this racetrack, so I came in here with a smile yesterday, and smiling right now. Obviously, we have a fast Freightliner Ford Mustang, and Jeremy and the boys did a great job, obviously, unloading close and being able to give me something to work with in practice. But yeah, I mean, the edges we've seen in this car is very small, and even the times where I felt like I landed in the corner and got a bit neutral, I mean, you're working with a couple centimeters of sidewall flex before you have to really correct. So it's interesting, but this is a really tough racetrack for cars, and we're going a lot faster than I thought we would. You know, I mean, in the 22s, that's booking it around here. So it's fun, but the fun can end pretty quick.
Well, half the battle is the attitude. He's got the attitude. Hey, he won the Xfinity race here last year. He loves this place, Mike.
That's right. Thanks, Jamie. 26.67 was his fastest, was his last lap. 22.80 was his fastest lap. 22.80. That is 158 miles an hour around here. And Austin Cindric brings up another good point. We talked about the newness of the independent rear suspension. How about the low profile tire compared to what we used on the 15-inch wheel a year ago? This tire, as Austin said, only has a couple of centimeters of sidewall flex, and that's all you've got to work with. A tire is a spring. That's part of its job. It's wow.
And Mike, we talked about it at the top of the show, the loads that you have at this racetrack. These tires are even loaded on the straightaways. The straightaways have 9 degrees of banking, but you spend 2/3 of a lap in the corners at this 1 mile track.
It's a lot to figure out. And as Brad Kay pointed out, in a very short time. And here he is. Tyler Reddick rolling out, no damage from that spin after William Byron had crashed.
Yeah, but my question is, Larry, and of course we need to get an answer on that, a ruling. Did they get an extra set of tires? Or did he, you know, what happens to that tires that he spun and probably flat spot and ruined?
We are getting word that he's on stickers. They only have 1 set of tires for practice, but I would have to believe he had really not turned a lap that NASCAR would approve them getting another set of tires to practice.
I mean, I was wondering, man, does that come out of your allotment for the weekend? But more than likely.
Now, if he'd ran 10 or 15 laps and that happens, no, you're probably not going to get another set.
Turn 3-4, one goes around, and it's the other rookie, Harrison Burton.
Okay, get rolling if you can. Look right. U-turn.
Can't tell if that left rear is flat or just low on air.
It looks flat, but it's also scuffed on the rear. You see, got into the wall again with the rear just barely like the 8.
Well, the monster is hungry. It only gets a chance once a year.
Saw it again.
Breakfast time.
Turn 3. It has been a detriment, no question.
Car hit harder than I thought it did.
Harrison Burton's Wood Brothers 21. Hauled back to the garage area.
Ooh, there went that diffuser.
Yeah. A lot of work to do on that 21.
Now Tyler Reddick, remember, spun to avoid William Byron, put a new set of tires on, and here's his debrief.
I don't know how else to really describe it. Something timing-wise, the back is really, really off there. I thought I just screwed it up the first time, but it's definitely something in the car.
Jamie?
So not comfortable with his car yet, but as far as the tires go, they took a look at him. This is the 4 tires that came off after the spin. You see a lot of damage here. NASCAR deemed all 4 tires were damaged, so they allowed the team to buy an extra set of sticker tires. That went on the race car. As Tyler pulls out right now, all he has is a little scuff on the bumper, but so far, so good. They just need to dial it in a bit.
Okay, thanks. And good that NASCAR has that option to allow the teams to get another set of tires in case something happens that's pretty much beyond their control. And to Jamie's point, yes, those tires aren't free. The teams have to buy them.
But it would have been a crying shame for them to have lost this practice and never turned a lap, because obviously, like Jamie pointed out, they've got work to do on that 8 car.
Right.
You know, I want to go back to that 21 getting pulled off. Hey, there's going to be some frustration down there in the pit area. Those guys didn't do them guys any favors getting that car off the racetrack. You saw that diffuser basically crunch underneath of it. In my opinion, that car needed a left rear tire and probably could have done some more practice. And now you see that underbody completely crushed underneath of it. That was needs to be addressed for sure.
And the track is open for practice. Kurt Busch is fastest of the B group, 5th overall. You see the B group names in white on the pylon on the left of your screen. And here comes Daniel Suarez.
All clear when you get back over there.
May or may not have been over in Nashville this week, boys.
Is there evidence?
Went over to the old honky tonk. You see riding along in this in-car camera. Old Rocco, big time Bobby's bar. Woo, good times were had.
You know, Clint, you were asking me before practice, who do we really want to pay attention to? And I'm anxious to see how Daniel Suarez runs here, because he won an Xfinity Series race here. He has 5 top 10s. That's the most of any track for him. I think he has a chance to run good this week.
Did you see how that car, you saw it rough, but you saw how loose it was going over that transition. As that car bounced through those corners getting in, man, he really was fighting the wheel, keeping that car underneath of him. Maybe watch one more time getting into 3. You'll see what I was talking about. He lifted pretty early there. He's pretty cautious getting in.
Your arc into 3 is as big as anybody right there. I wouldn't go anymore.
You can definitely tell by the audio, and I can tell by the way he's driving. Pretty gingerly getting into 3. Everybody's learned from these cars spinning out, getting into 3.
Now Kyle Larson has only run 3 laps so far.
Kind of a lot of smoke coming out the right side of my car. Going to send somebody down there to look at it really quick. In the past, we've seen debris come in those front ducts that sit on the headers, and smoke from sitting on the headers before, like tire debris or whatever. Could be that, but again, Steven's on his way.
So they had a look at it and sent him back out.
I tell you what, I want to brag on that kid for a second. Watched his World Outlaw performance last night. Watched running both the sprint car and a dirt late model. They put him to the back. Took him too long to get from the sprint car to the late model. Supposed to start up front in the late model. They put him dead last. This kid gets up on the boards, rips the boards on the outside, goes all the way to the front. Right rear tire blows out on the last lap, passing for the lead. Crushes the car, but what a show he did at Bristol at the dirt last night.
Riding with Kurt Busch right here in this 45 car, one of the 3 Toyotas in this B group. He is the fastest of all drivers so far, 5th overall.
I don't think you have to look any further than that. Steering and the throttle, very smooth. Here, the 8 car was back in the wall again. You can see the right side damage.
Yep. Right front and right rear wheelhouse there. Here's a look at it.
He was up a little high off the bottom.
I think he got tied in the wake of that car behind him, or in front of him, Ty Dillon. Man, he is having a rough go this practice. But overzealous, which is easy to do at this racetrack. It really draws you in. Such a fast, demanding racetrack, but you need to make that move, right? Obviously, don't need to get it in a wall, but you're trying to figure out, it's one thing to be fast at this racetrack, it's a whole nother thing to make a pass.
Kyle Busch 11th on the board after 12 laps. 22.95, just a tenth and a half off of Austin Cindric's fastest lap.
This 18's starting to come to life. You know, they got the win at the Bristol Dirt Track, 4 consecutive top 10s, top 5 last week at Talladega, so they're starting to rear their head just a little bit now.
Ryan Preece, former modified champ, 6th overall and 2nd fastest in Group B for Rick Ware Racing.
Mike, I talked to Ryan yesterday, and I said, how is it running this limited schedule? He's got 2 Cup races. He's got a few Xfinity Series races, some truck races. He said, I'd rather run a limited schedule in all series and have a shot to win than just being there week after week after week.
He's told me much the same thing, Larry. He's not here to ride around, you know. So 22.86.
The biggest thing about riding around, it just doesn't help yet whatsoever. 9 times out of 10, you're in a car that's completely out of control, out of shape, and you never really get a good, you know, size of the racetrack to feel anything. You're just chasing a car that just doesn't want to be underneath of you the whole time.
Number 9, 9th fastest overall for Chase Elliott, 14 laps so far.
And I know he's the only Hendrick driver that has not found victory lane in 2022, but he's still leading the regular season points. I mean, just a model of consistency, he's not found victory lane.
And we count wins, and wins are so important. Ever since this format was developed, we've said win and you're in. But the first thing is the point champion at the end of the regular season makes the playoffs, whether he has won a race or not. And that's where he sits, saying he's not worried about this winless streak. He said the wins will come. We're just continuing to do all we can do.
And he has not won on an oval since that win at Phoenix in November of 2020, which sowed the championship. 2 road course wins last year.
Wow. That's right. He's become our road course expert. Ricky Stenhouse, 20th overall, 11th in Group B. He's run 8 laps. All right, we're going to go back and recap Harrison Burton's incident entering turn 3. Jamie?
And Harrison Burton back here in the garage. Pretty big hit for you right there. What exactly happened?
It's really hard to say. Got through 1 and 2 really good on that lap and felt pretty confident going to 3 and 4. I could go get some entry speed and be aggressive there. And as soon as I turned into the corner, I just lost the back of the car. So I don't know, it just snapped around really quick. And you kind of know not to try and overcorrect these cars now. So once I got sideways, I kind of just tried to stay wide open and hopefully stay off the wall, but obviously got it pretty hard still. So I'm pretty upset just because I wanted to have a really great weekend this weekend. I feel like this is one of my better tracks. So upset with the start, but obviously a lot of guys have had some issues, and I think it's really hard to say why. It just snaps like that, and you know, you kind of have to just move on and try and do it again.
Thanks, Harrison.
There's that transition from the apron, which is asphalt, to the concrete corner.
Well, it shows you know, and he was pretty close to that apron. I mean, I don't think he got on it and promoted that. I think the car was already been out of shape and was loose, just like everybody else was underneath of it. But the one thing that I can see right here is finally, Larry, some tire buildup on this racetrack.
Well, we know Goodyear made a bit of a change to the right side tire, a little bit of a compound, and that definitely is laying some rubber down.
I mean, right there you can see his left front and nose is definitely on the apron, but I think it was already, you know, was gone before he got to the apron.
Is the visual of driving down that backstretch and seeing that big monster bridge there, does that affect you at all?
You know, no, it doesn't. It's funny you ask that because my mom always watches from there. She's got her little crowd that she's hung out with for years over there at the casino, and they watch from that deal. She always asks me that. You're worried about that corner and where's that apex, and more importantly, where's those bumps, because that's what promotes whether or not this thing's going to get loose underneath of me or not.
Mike, you asked about that transition between the apron and the racetrack. I went back and watched the race from last year. Several times, drivers running side by side, that driver on the inside would clip the apron and would shoot up into the driver on his outside. Happened many times.
If you hit the nose, it'll take it, you know, just shoot the nose of it. If you get that left rear tire on it, it wants to spin you out in a heartbeat.
Corey LaJoie, 24th overall. 23-22. That only about 4/10 off of the fastest lap of the day. He's run 17 laps. And Christopher Bell, third among four Toyotas third among the top four Toyotas. 10th overall, 16 laps. For Bell, he and Kurt Busch, 5th and 10th right now.
You know, Larry, sitting here watching this practice, and we're seeing these guys bottom out. We're seeing guys that wreck, seeing their conversations about how bad the bumps are affecting them getting into 3, knowing these cars are rigid and looking to what's next. Qualifying. What do they normally do to these race cars that make them go faster?
And lock them down even more.
And what's that going to do to me over them bumps?
It's not going to be good. Just hang on.
I thought she was going to say that. I think a lot of these teams, a lot of these drivers are going to have that in mind, have a decision to make of how much they can get away with and how much they can't. And what those bumps were is what you just saw with Daniel Suarez as he got off into 3. Very, very abrupt.
Saw a picture of his this week where his big toe was as blue as his helmet.
What happened?
Broke it.
Oh. Well, how?
Don't know.
Oh. That's never good.
Yeah, I think it was from the Talladega wreck. Yeah, on that restart at lap 89. Yeah.
How do you break your toe on? I've never done that. That's a new one for me. I think the pedals being floor mounted maybe have something to do with it instead of swinging.
You're going to have to answer that. I never broke my toe on the pit box.
Just a pencil eraser.
Let's look at Alex Bowman working on his pit road entry here.
Not bad, not bad.
Jamie?
Well, two-time winner this season, William Byron, a hard hit for you. Any indication there, William, it was going to snap like that?
Yeah, you know, I got through 1 and 2 really good, actually, and just I think just a little bit overconfidence getting into 3. First lap, you know, relatively cold tires, so just hated for our guys more than anything, just to have to pull out a backup car. Obviously, the primary was probably going to be really fast, so I know our backup car can be just as fast, and we can still go and try to win on Sunday, but just a little bit overconfident on my end, and paid the price for it. I definitely got loose. I'm not sure if I bottomed out, but I drove it in deeper than I should have on the first lap. So live and learn, and thanks to Raptor Chevrolet, and we'll get it fixed up for Sunday and try to go win.
One backup car for Hendrick Motorsports. It's going to the 24.
Thanks, Jamie. Kurt Busch is fastest in Group B. Austin Cindric in Group A as we look ahead to qualifying. Rookie Austin Cindric fastest in practice in Group A. Veteran and past champion Kurt Busch fastest in Group B, 5th overall. Qualifying will start in 2 minutes. While Eric Almirola was at Race Hub in the simulator, he showed us how you pull out and qualify at Dover.
All right, we're leaving pit road here at Dover. The Monster Mile. We're going to try and lay a lap down. This is probably the most fun racetrack to go try and just lay a lap down. It is so intense. You can be so aggressive here in qualifying. The car slams down into the banking. You're trying to get up to speed, trying to get a good run off the exit of 4 coming to the green. Turn 1, you can drive in a mile. The car launches off the end of the straightaway, slams down into that high bank concrete turn. You really get forced down in the seat going through these high bank corners. Turn 3 is really rough. You go across the bumps. You're trying to carry as much throttle as you can. Try and keep the throttle pedal down on exit so you can get a good run to the checker and hope you lay the lap down, and it happens fast.
So as we get ready for qualifying, Ryan Blaney, who was within 6/100ths of the fastest lap in Group A, is with Jamie.
And he was 8th overall, fastest on the board. And you just told me this place is no joke. What's your confidence level right now as you get ready to go for 2 fast laps here?
We better be confident going into qualifying here. This place is obviously really fast, but you get not a lot of time to figure out a new car and don't know how hard to push it. And you got to be committed here to get all out of your car. So it was a tricky practice session, that's for sure. And it's going to be even more wild in qualifying. I mean, you're going to have to really be confident and brave in your car to fire it off in there and stay hammered down. But I think we got a pretty decent Jack Link's Menards Ford Mustang. We made a good change there in practice, which I thought got us in the ballpark. But I think qualifying is going to be really big today, and hopefully the right foot can be heavy and keep it on the floor.
Good luck to you.
Cautious optimism.
And a little bit is going to be a lot, Mike. When I look at our fastest 16 drivers from the 2 combined groups, less than 0.2 of a second separating those 16 drivers. So a little bit is going to be huge.
You ain't kidding. So easy to overstep, overdrive. Do not get off into that corner too hard. Get loose. Wash up the track. Just hit your marks. Let those air pressure in the tires in your car do the work for you. They will pick up the speed.
Saw them pushing Harrison Burton's car up toward the line, and that car had a lot of damage to that rear diffuser.
Yeah, they're actually headed to the garage.
Yeah,
area.
there you go.
Yeah. They've got plenty of work to do on that 21 car.
RCR's been doing it for a while. They want to race here, want to race there, but RCR's been in the conversation more this year than in the years of 5 or
So we're just a little bit delayed getting cars out to the qualifying line.
There, you ain't kidding. I mean, just all the way through the board, the 80s, top 10, all the way through the 80s. Right after that, 90s are just so tight. I feel like this qualifying session is going to be much like a Martinsville qualifying session. Lap times all on top of one another.
So it's 2 laps, which is going to be the money lap.
Well, what'd you give me, Larry? Are we set up for the first lap or the second lap?
I don't think you're going to see a trend or a pattern. It's going to be a lot to do with what the air pressures. Air pressures, they're huge everywhere, but so much at this concrete racetrack.
But I also feel like the setup, your chassis setup kind of dictates what that air pressure does in this car. I can tell you this, if it's set up to be on the first lap and you miss it, don't be thinking that second lap's going to be better.
But I will say, William Byron talked about cold tires. You got to be careful on cold tires. That's a big deal.
Jamie.
Well, Denny Hamlin knows how to turn a fast lap around here. A 4-time pole sitter, won the pole last time we qualified here in 19. But with this new car, Denny, things going to be similar. They're just going to be totally different here for this fast lap.
The execution in which you want to have a lap to make speed here is the same. The car just reacts a little bit different to it, but overall you want to do the same things that has made speed in the past. You're going to want to qualify well because passing will be very, very difficult.
Good luck to you.
Looking ahead to tomorrow. A.J. Allmendinger, first driver on the clock. 23 seconds flat for lap 1. And there's a potential for more.
Yeah, that first lap is about 0.2 slower than what he ran in practice at a 22.81.
His second lap is quicker by 0.3 of a second, 22.68.
I think a little of that's a trust factor, going out and feeling that car out. And the other side is the air pressure, in which you talk about, Larry.
Well, these drivers, they've watched 4 or 5 cars bust their tail on cold tires right off pit road on lap 1. So I'm sure they're using a little caution.
And don't you think for a second, Mike, that crew chief, old Larry, ain't been in my ear. Now, don't go out there. You know that grip levels are going to be down. You've seen everybody else wreck, right? Right, Clint? You've seen everybody else do that. Don't be that guy.
Cody Ware will be the second qualifier, 22.89 for his Mustang.
Gonna let the car drift up a little bit more in 1 and 2. I mean, that's going to be something. You heard Denny Hamlin talk about, you know, difficulties of passing. How are you going to do that? You can't go right behind him in the wake. We know that. With this diffuser and that concentrated air right behind the car, I feel like you're going to have to get up high, try to figure out a line to momentum around the outside.
And he drops 4 1/100ths on lap 2.
Yeah, I would say him getting up and drifting in the middle wasn't just him letting it have its head. I'd say that car was tight.
Yeah, he only ran 7 laps in practice and picked up quite a bit from what he ran in practice.
Chris Buescher for Roush Fenway Kozlowski. And again, the qualifying order is set by NASCAR scoring metric, which takes into account point standings, last race finish, and last race fastest lap. Slowest to fastest.
Ready to, in the green on top of the board at 66. You know, Chris just does such a good job of the 17 each and every week. In my opinion, is an underrated driver. Always has been, in any car he's in, is over-delivered for his sponsors and his team. Very good driver.
Picks it up to a 22.51.
Yeah, that's a big pickup from what he ran in practice.
Now, Josh Bilicki did not come out for a qualifying run. Had that crash early on. And we're not going to see Todd Gilliland. You saw he had trouble early. This is B.J. McLeod. Christopher Stanley filling in as crew chief. McLeod had that lug nut and wheel that became disassociated with his car last week. And
you know, in a Gilliland or Bilicki's car was tore up pretty bad, but Gilliland's car was just some rear damage a little bit. Doesn't surprise me, though. Is it really worth going out there and taking a chance of wrecking this car again for 1 lap when chances are, you know, probably going to be somewhere around the back anyway? Let's go out. Let's make sure our car is fixed up, redirect ourselves and our focus for tomorrow's race, and be good on these long runs. Especially with limited parts and things like with these cars. It's just a lot of that decision, in my opinion, makes sense.
Yeah, qualifying difference between 25th and 35th. Let's just be safe here.
I guess the only advantage to going out would be it's 2 laps of practice that he didn't have.
Yeah, but you're enticed to go out there and get it all in those 2 laps as a young rookie driver.
You're right.
But I wouldn't want to be in that scenario. Just the juice isn't worth the squeeze.
Cole Custer in his Stewart-Haas Ford.
That's an awesome angle. You can see the speed getting off into turn 3 for these drivers. I'm telling you, you're not only going over that rough part of this racetrack, those bumps, but you're asking a lot out of that car, pulling on that wheel, getting off into the corner.
Yeah, that's not a lap he's going to be very happy with. Didn't show a lot of speed in practice. In fact, overall was 31st.
.23.16 on lap 1. 23 flat. Jamie.
Ross Chastain, big winner last Sunday, but it's back to work and back to focusing. I know you guys were bottoming out in practice. Were you able to make any adjustments to make it better here?
Yeah, Jamie, we got the bottoming out better. It's that's not fun. That's what happened to us early in the year at Auto Club, and got it. I knew what that felt like, and we got that fixed, but we're just too tight. I think Trackhouse as a whole, talking to Daniel just for a few moments there, he's lacking grip as well, and we're just really tight. So it's wild. We're carrying cart throttle all the way through the corner in practice and races, really, like way too much on throttle time, in my opinion. It's wild. So we have what we have here, and I have to calibrate, and it's fitting after last week to have Can't Stop Us Now, Pitbull's tour, and him and Zach Brown's new song on the car, and just proud of Trackhouse and Chevrolet. We'll get it figured out, and just maybe by the end of the race tomorrow.
Hopefully before.
Joey Logano 22.79 in his Penske Mustang on lap 1, picks that up slightly to a 22.73. And so far, 5 of our first 6 drivers to qualify have been faster on their second lap. So we're going to move our ghost car to the bubble car, which right now is Cole Custer, as Denny Hamlin's Joe Gibbs Toyota takes to the track.
And it's the only thing that matters, boys. That bubble. Be in this top 10.
Going to be a pretty good first lap for Denny Hamlin. Yeah, he's tracking up there around second.
And if he can, that's what we were talking about with air pressure and everything else. We've learned this at Richmond and at Martinsville. If you can get the job done on that first lap, get that thing in, save those tires for when the money's on the line to be on the pole.
Well, a 61 with 10 drivers to go. Is that safe?
Doesn't look like it. They're going for another one.
Really good looking lap.
Wow, to a 49. 22:49. Hamlin is fastest.
I bet you that's enough.
That should be enough. Yeah, I'm with you.
This is picking up, Larry.
Cody Ware on the bubble as Justin Haley takes to the track.
Justin was pretty quick in practice, third overall.
Good qualifier. You can see here, already inside the bubble, into green. Green's good.
Third fastest, 22:66, bumps Cody Ware.
Really shocked by Logano's lap. You know, looking down through it, that's not going to be enough. Lifting pretty early. Here, those bumps are affecting these guys. Lifting early, trying to navigate around those bumps.
Picks it up to a 63. Justin Haley third behind Hamlin and Buescher. Bubba Wallace, Austin Cindric, Kevin Harvick next. 7 of the 8 drivers who've timed so far were fastest on lap 2. Everybody but A.J. Allmendinger. So now we come to the final 8 drivers of Group A, beginning with Bubba Wallace.
Bubba gets his crew chief back this week. Booty Barker, after that 4-week suspension, lost the tire and wheel at COTA a few weeks ago, but Booty's back this week on top of the box.
Joey Logano on an unfamiliar position, the bubble.
Sure is. That one caught me off guard.
Boy, this is quite
a
lap here for Bubba in this 23 car.
He's going to bump in on the first lap. 22:54 bumps Joey Logano. Fastest lap so far, Denny Hamlin's 49. Bubba needs half a tenth, but this won't be it.
It looks like he's going to be about our second driver to not pick up on lap 2.
Jamie?
Well, you mentioned Joey Logano just bumped out to make it to the second round. You said ugly. What'd you need there?
Yeah, just slow. Actually, the balance of the cars felt pretty close to what we needed and felt like I had a pretty good lap. I was kind of surprised by the number it put up. So we'll have our work cut out when the race starts. Hopefully these cars can pass a little better than the old cars did and we can work our way up there, but we'll have our work cut out for us.
His teammate, rookie Austin Cindric, was fastest in practice. A.J. Allmendinger on the bump spot.
Right over there to the top of Logano.
And he's going to have work to do on lap 2.
Just barely beating him. Well, Penske boys going to be scratching their head tonight. Had a few of those here, man. This racetrack, I got unloaded here and been to the top of the board. Easy peasy. Old car's perfect, Larry. Come back even in a fall race and be like, what did you do?
Exactly.
Same setup, same car, same everything.
Got a little high off 4, but he does bump in with a 22:59. That bumps A.J. Allmendinger.
See Joey talking to his crew chief, Paul Wolf, trying to figure it out. But you're right, Clint. This 1 mile concrete surface, I mean, sun goes in, sun comes out. There's not a more temperature sensitive track that we go to than probably Dover.
By the way, that sun, it's almost immediately, Mike. As soon as it goes under clouds, you're like, what happened? What? I don't have a glare anymore. Never mind.
Like a light switch. Kevin Harvick bumps in on lap 1 with a 22:61. Knocks out Justin Haley from the final round.
I don't think that's enough, though, and I guarantee you his crew chief, Rodney Childers, was wanting to see that a little bit faster. I think he would have pulled the trigger on pulling him in. Takes me back, I think it was Richmond, where he was quite a bit ahead. They tried to stay out, ran one more lap, and I think it cost him. The guy that only had one lap on his tires ended up being on the pole.
Well, he does pick up to a 22.54. So there's Haley and Allmendinger, the last two drivers to be bumped. And Cindric, it looked like, Harvick, it looked like right in the middle of 3 and 4. Lost a bit on that second lap.
Yeah, he really picked up speed getting into turn 3.
Eric got loose getting into the corner. You see him bail back out of the gas. He did not like that at all. Maybe he can get it wrangled back in, get it all in the second lap. That's fine. If it gets loose into 1, the hardest part is washing that out of your mind. The air pressure comes back in. Get off in the corner, adjust my line a little bit. Trending a little better here. Not a lot. Loose. Such a fine line on this banking, this concrete race surface. You need that thing free, but it can't be loose.
And Almirola is faster, but will not bump in. Jamie.
Well, AJ Allmendinger pulling double duty. He'll race Xfinity later on today. 7th on the board right now. There's Bubba watching you guys in your body language when you get out of the car. How would you describe that lap there?
Well, it's hairy around here right now. You're on edge. These cars are they're so rigid, so you don't know if you're really hooked up or if it's about to step out and you're about to crash. But the Action Industry Chevy was really good in practice. We kind of put ourselves at a disadvantage here. We had a flat tire after 5 laps, and we wanted to have a good practice, so we put a whole new set on. So unfortunately, I had to go go qualify with those scuffs on in a brand new right rear. So first lap didn't have a lot of grip in it. The second lap, the car was actually pretty good, but I wasn't expecting as much grip as I had. So we're going to start probably mid-pack to the back here. It's going to be tough to pass, but you know, here right now at College Racing, we're just trying to make baby steps on this Cup program, and was really happy. My son, old Jay, he was fast in practice as well. So we're going to be a little struggle in the race to start with, but I think we can get to the front.
Thanks, AJ.
Well, Ryan Blaney aced turns 3 and 4 on lap 1, and he was one and done, top of the chart.
Jonathan Hassler couldn't get to that radio button quick enough. His crew chief said, that'll be just fine. Bring her in.
So he saves a half a lap on those tires.
You heard me talk about who was the benefactor of Harvick in that conversation. It was him. Ryan Blaney was able to do that the first lap, came in, saved his tires, and sat on the pole that day in Richmond.
Austin Dillon 10th overall with a 22.80.
Watch his inboard right here. You actually saw the compression, him pushing down in the seat as he gets off into the corner and loads into that banking. See that? Tell me there ain't any G-load on these guys in these racetracks.
It just appears to me, though, RCR, Richard Childress Racing, both drivers really searching right now.
Second lap picked up 3/100ths. Martin Truex, then Ross Chastain to complete Group A.
You know, Clint, might kind of like Kevin Harvick, when things are ailing, just go to Dover. I mean, this man has 4 top 2 finishes in the last 5 races.
Well, it ain't going to work there. Very loose getting off into 3. That thing tank swapped ends. He had to bail out of the gas. This may hurt his second lap as well.
Yeah, when things don't go well in 3 and 4 on lap 1, it's not gonna help lap 2.
Going to have to reel him back in. Going to have to rely on the very corner that bit him last time to make it happen. That's a hard thing to do as a race car driver.
And you can just see just not making any ground up whatsoever.
Doesn't want to trust it this time. I don't blame him.
23.01 to a 22.68. A nice pickup for Truex, but it will not be enough.
The nice save, too.
Will the final driver to advance from Group A be Kevin Harvick or Ross Chastain?
Well, it's going to be so close.
Whoa, it's going the right direction now. He got off turn 2 so well.
And if he bumps in, he can shut it down.
You hear him talk about never coming all the way up out of the throttle, and that's what you saw. Carrying just a part throttle all the way through and right into the to the show. Not only into the show, but the show.
So the fastest two only ran one lap, Ross Chastain and Ryan Blaney.
Well, and that's the advantage to going last.
You think this next group's paying attention to that?
Guarantee you.
So here are the 5 drivers who will advance. Bubba Wallace, Chris Buescher, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Ross Chastain. 5 drivers have advanced to the final round of qualifying to run for the Busch Light pole out of Group A. Now it's the 18 drivers in Group B with their turn at the clock. Jamie?
Surrounded by drivers here. Raja Karuth getting ready for Xfinity Series, his second race. Ryan Blaney, but Bubba for the second week in a row. He'll talk to you after his interview.
I don't know.
All right, moving on to the second round for the second week in a row. So was the second lap by design, or did you have one of those oh no moments?
I had an oh no moment on the first lap, and luckily we were already back in the wood before I could realize it. But then by the time I got back to turn 3 on the second lap, we had a lot of cars wreck, and I almost wrecked too in practice, and you're mindful of that. You know, it's like you're going for it. And I seen our first lap time was a 53, and I'm like, all right, Denny ran like a 40-something. So we were close, but going into 3, I just kind of babied it just to, you know, stay underneath us. But I think we got all of it on our first lap, which is good. So now I got to do like the mental reset here, forget about turn 3 and go do it again.
Good luck with that.
Thank you.
Ryan Preece from Berlin, Connecticut. For Rick Ware Racing, 22.83 on lap 1. Picks it up. Nice pickup, 22.62.
It's a good lap. It's a good lap. Guess he had quite the race against Matt Hirschman up at the Spring Sizzler at Stafford last weekend.
Unbelievable. They raced each other with respect all the way to the checkered flag. Great race. Hirschman the winner. Tyler Reddick, after an eventful practice and a big spin and then a brush with the wall.
If Tyler can go out here and lay a lap down after the practice he's had, whoa, then that got really loose again. Just not underneath him at all. Car's light on its feet. He's going to need some adjusting on this thing. Not happy with his car.
Yeah, it was like a 4-wheel slide for about 100 yards it looked over there getting into turn 3.
I don't mind the front end sliding. That rear end starts sliding getting into the corner over there. You can see it loose again. Tried to baby it a little bit more, take care of it, make sure he got to the bottom, but nonetheless, extremely loose.
He's going to pick up a couple of tenths here, 22.83. Ty Dillon in the 42 for Petty GMS. Had a good run going at Talladega.
Ty's been running good. Yep. He really has.
Yeah, he and a few others, they were just victims on that restart wreck at lap 89, but he had a great run going at Talladega.
Now you saw the times from Group A up at the top of the board. Group B is only competing against Group B in this round. So 23.19 for lap 1. Oh, that car got away.
What's going to happen on this lap, isn't it? We're seeing all this happen by themselves. Seeing it in practice, seeing it in qualifying. The hardest part about turn 3, boys, is on a restart when you get off in there, sailing it off in there on low air pressure, and there's a guy holding it down on your door and you're outside. You don't have that affordability to let it run up and use that banking. You've got to keep hold of that wheel, keep pulling on it, and around it'll come about every time.
Ricky Stenhouse had a nice run to the green there in his JTG Motorsports, Doherty Motorsports Camaro. Had a little wiggle going into 3.
Yeah, but it didn't. He kept it underneath of him. It didn't slow him down. It was a little higher entry in the 3 than I have seen. Maybe that helped him get the car rotated. Still pretty loose getting into 1 there.
This team, whether it's 5th, 10th, or 15th, they just need a solid, uneventful race without anything happening to them.
Sorry, that little dithering in our ghost car is due to going under those 2 bridges on the back straightaway. Not much we can do about that. But Stenhouse is faster on lap 1. Chase Briscoe has had an eventful couple of weeks. That'd be an understatement.
Yeah,
coming very close to a win at Bristol on the dirt, and then having trouble at Talladega.
Seems like he's answering the call so far. As long as he can get off into 3. Car wiggled a little bit. Gave up a little bit of time here.
Third on lap 1.
That'd be close. Maybe he can find some more on lap 2. This HR cars have been a little bit off. It's a little bit slow in practice. Obviously, Harvick was their best car.
Yeah, we know it was mainly about race trim, but he was 30th in that practice session earlier. Overall, both groups combined.
He is just a couple thousand slower on lap 2. So that's 3 drivers in a row for whom lap 1 was the money lap.
I think that's a product, just like we talked about, and I tipped you off, Larry. You see those guys pulling that off, you know, being able to pull that off in that Group 1 qualifying group, you're going to have to try to follow suit, because you can't help yourself but to think that that's going to be the, you know, the winning combination when it talks to the pole here in just a minute.
Nailed 3 and 4.
Sure did. Top of the chart, 22.60 for Daniel Suarez. And that's enough.
Yeah, Travis Mack's going to roll the dice and say, I think that's going to be good enough for top 5. He shuts it down.
He's the 3rd driver to only run 1 lap in qualifying after Ryan Blaney and Ross Chastain.
Jamie Little was sharing with me that Denny Hamlin was upset. He went ahead and ran the 2nd lap, but I just think he went so early. You're rolling the dice.
Right, you
shutting
can't
it down.
I agree, Larry. You can't know. So look at the times from Group A. By comparison, the top 5, they're all faster than Group B, but we'll move our ghost car to the bubble, which is now Tyler Reddick, as Brad Keselowski brings the RFK Racing number 6 Mustang out.
He can get through 3, which I think he did. Trending good, boys.
Boy, Daniel Suarez taking only 1 lap with 11 drivers to go. That is quite a call.
Yeah, that's right there on the threshold, though. Keselowski right now 4th quickest at a 69, 22.69.
Got high off at 2, lost some time, had to get out of the gas. Lost about a half a tenth, high again, got tight there. I don't think this lap's going to do it.
So he's in, Reddick is out, and Keselowski is the 5th straight driver to have his fastest lap on lap 1. Now look at Team Trackhouse, fastest in Group A, fastest in Group B, looking for their first career pole.
I think you're seeing guys, you know, being enticed by that first round of air pressures and their adjustments, being quick on that first lap, going for that. And I think Keselowski was a prime example of that.
Well, and the 99 team had the benefit of learning from Ross Chastain in his 1 car.
Corey LaJoie trying to put his number 7 in the top 5. Just misses it on lap 1 by 4 100ths.
Well, if he can hold it in 3 and 4, he might have it here. He's got a run on him. Got down to the corner good. Get that car rotated.
It'll be a solid lap for Corey.
And he's going to bump Chase Briscoe by 4 100ths of a second. So a little drama in Group B. Daniel Suarez, 1 and done. Will it hold up? Eight drivers from Group B have qualified. And Daniel Suarez, we thought his crew chief made a ballsy call to pull him in after 1 lap with so many cars to go. But Jamie, what happened there?
Well, I don't think that was by design. Why the 1 lap?
I made a mistake, to be honest. I saw a couple cars doing 1 lap, and I just made a mistake. I thought it was going to be 1 lap only, but it wasn't the case. But I don't know. Let's see if I get lucky here and we can hang on it. I feel like I can have a little bit more speed than that. But we'll see. We'll find out.
Daniel, we're doing the interview here sitting down. You injured your left foot. Are you okay? How much pain are you under?
Right now I'm fine. When I put a little bit of pressure is when I have a little bit of pain. But once you're in the race car, you only go. So we're gonna be fine here. Victory lane is gonna be even sweeter.
Even sweeter in victory lane. He heard it in training on Thursday, Mike.
Ooh.
No, Daniel. Tell him, you knew all along. It's good. He's fine. He'll be just fine with that 60, just barely, but I think he'll be fine.
If it works out, it was all by intent.
Of course.
Well, I don't know if McDowell just had enough after one lap or what the case, but he only ran one, and he's 8th out of the 9 drivers that's took a time. Maybe he thought this is not going to get any better.
I guarantee you that's what he thought. That's experience talking. He said another lap in this thing would have been a backup car.
All right, let's watch Kurt Busch here because he was fastest in practice in Group B.
Got a good run off the corner. He's going to need a little help down here in 3 and 4. Heard it bottom out. Did you hear that?
He heard it. Those bumps over there going into turn 3.
I'm going to be happy with that one.
Trying to bump Corey LaJoie.
Oh, so close.
Yeah, this is not going to be the lap that Kurt Busch. He may bump in, but it's still not going to be the lap I think he was looking for. But
he is 4th with a 64.
Telling you, if 60s are going to be it, that ain't bad. But I do believe, you know, just like we saw in that last one, the 50s are going to start showing up.
I can feel out.
Christopher Bell for Joe Gibbs Racing. See what kind of lap his Camry can put down here. Right now, 1 Toyota in the top 5. That is Kurt Busch.
Keeps flirting back and forth at the cut line. Kind of was a little weak getting through the middle of turn 3 and 4. He's 5th right now.
He's in by a 1/100th. Over Brad Keselowski, and he's going to play 2.
This is not what Daniel Suarez wants to see. Lost a little bit of ground through turns 3 and 4. Don't think he's going to 5th quickest. So Bell was there all the way to the middle of turn 3 and 4.
He was.
You know, Clint, we talked about weather sensitive. I'm not so sure that the sun being on this racetrack is not taking a little bit of grip away from it. That's maybe why we're seeing the speeds down a little bit.
Now, William Byron will not take a lap. Looks like they're going to a backup car. So Eric Jones is 5th from the end of Group B. If he can get to the top of the chart in 1 lap, he can shut it down. That's not going to happen. He's going to have to play 2.
The top, but the opposite end. He's going to be at the bottom of it after that little wobble down there in turns 3 and 4. And to Clint's point earlier, when it happens in 3 and 4, it's just it messes the next lap up.
Yeah, and you can still seeing it hop getting into 3, not going to like that. But I'm telling you, all these boys, the next if you're, yeah, you can see that wasn't good. But I'm telling you, Christopher Bell in 5th, Kurt Busch in 4th, Stenhouse in 3rd. These next 4 cars, you've got Alex Bowman, you've got Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, and Kyle Busch. A stack of 4 cars that could be knocking yourself out of this bubble.
Alex Bowman on track for Hendrick Motorsports. Jamie, you can tell Daniel that he can relax. He's in with 4 cars to go. Suarez will make the final round.
I told you, he knew it all along. But you can see
part of the plan.
Picking up with this 48. Straight to the top of the board. Exactly what I was talking about. Anybody from Stenhouse back, they're in trouble.
Bowman is in, 22.50.
And I'd say Greg Ives will key the mic. That's good enough right there.
And it is. 3 drivers to go.
I'll tell you, Ryan Preece holding strong in that 15 car. It's a great job by him and his team. And
so Suarez and Bowman are locked into the final round. 3 to go, Larson, Elliott, and Kyle Busch. So at risk are Ryan Preece, Ricky Stenhouse, and Kurt Busch on the bubble.
Let's see if he can, you know, I think these guys right here, these next 3 are going to be looking for this first lap to get it done.
So far, there are 4 drivers moving on that only have 1 qualifying lap on
Got a
their
little
tire.
loose, chase it down the racetrack, but I still think he's good enough to get in.
Yeah, it's going to be a great lap for that 5 car.
See if he shuts down.
Top of the board.
You're good.
Larson's
Exactly what
in.
you want to hear. All right, next up, his teammate, Chase Elliott in this 9. See if he can get it done on first lap.
So Elliott needs to be 4th or better on lap 1 to lock in.
If you're going to make it happen on lap 1, that run through 3 and 4 coming to start that lap is so critical. He is looking good so far through turns 1 and 2.
Got off it too well. Good job holding it down. Car looks stable. I think he's going to do it for sure.
22:46, top of the chart for Elliott.
Larry, remember when you said that you think the track's slowing down?
Just disregard that.
Just got
Roger.
So 6 drivers with just 1 fast lap on their tires going to the final round. And now it comes down to Ryan Preece versus Kyle Busch for the final transfer spot. Preece right now the only Ford in the Fast 5. No Toyotas. As Kyle makes his run.
Tuning pretty good as long as he doesn't get loose in. Looks like he protected it pretty good, getting into the corners pretty straight.
Yeah, I didn't see it wobble whatsoever. It's going to do it.
Kyle is in 4th fastest in Group B. That bumps Ryan Preece. And it will put 7 of the top 10 with 1 lap on their tires and 3 with 2. Still a great run for Ryan Preece. Missed it by just that much. Daniel Suarez, 1 and done, moves on. So does Kyle Busch. Alex Bowman and teammates Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott. Final round qualifying. They're not teammates, but well, they're sharing the iPad there. Looking at data. And here are the 10 drivers that will move on to the final round, dominated by Chevrolet. Jamie.
And Kyle Larson ended up 2nd. There you saw him looking at this little iPad here, and Ross was over here. What are you guys looking at exactly, and what do you gain for this next round of qualifying?
Well, Ross and I were kind of talking, like in race trim, it felt really sketchy for a few laps. So there in qualifying trim, it didn't feel too bad. So and then we were just looking at kind of Chase's lap there because he was really good as well. So Dover's a lot of fun. My HinderCars.com Chevy feels good, and you know, hopefully we can qualify well here. I think it's gonna be really tough to pass tomorrow, so qualifying is gonna be really important.
All right, well, Clint, you were talking about him racing last night. After this, he's going back there to race at Bristol again tonight. Can't get enough.
Maybe they can start him in Kingsport tonight. It was fun to watch him come from the back, but
sure was.
That shouldn't have happened. Anyway, it was an exciting race, and I'm sure it will be tonight up there in Bristol. So 10 drivers will run for the pole. A few Toyotas, a couple of Fords, and a lot of Chevrolets. Who do you like?
Call it, Larry.
Oh, I'm the guest, so I get to
Call it.
pick first,
That's
I
right.
guess. I mean, the 5 Chevrolet drivers, 3 from Hendrick Motorsports, 2 from Trackcast.
I said call the guy, the polecat, not
All right,
5
I'm
of
going
them.
to go with the guy that won this race a year ago, Alex Bowman in that 48 car. I like the speed he showed right there, but all 5 of those Chevrolet drivers, only 1 lap on those tires.
Larry, Beansy, you're in the booth this week. You see this? I've got notes. I'm ready. I'm prepared for him. I'm telling you that.
It's the first time I've seen you with a briefcase.
Well, I just asked those guys for it, to be honest with you. It's a cheat sheet. Just know the right guy, the smartest guy in the class. That's all you got to do. And I'm telling you, Ross Chastain won last week. He's fast, only ran one lap in that first group. I think the one ball is your pole sitter.
You leave me the blind obvious again. And yes, I loved Daniel Suarez's strategy in round one. Whoever decided it, I love the strategy of running only the one lap. But Chase Elliott, I mean, everybody's looking at his data because he's the guy to beat.
Absolutely. But I'm telling you, Ryan Blaney in the Ford, you know, you start talking about Fords and manufacturer camp, the Toyotas, with, I think him right there, man, laid a really fast lap down. Virtually one of the first guys that tried to go for a single lap, and always a fast on qualifying day.
And don't forget, Kyle Busch, one of the 3 Toyota drivers, only one lap on his tires as well.
All right, so speaking of that, 1 lap or 2 for the final round?
It depends on how fast I run on lap 1.
Let's ask Daniel. All right, final round of qualifying for the pole for tomorrow's race. Coming right up. NASCAR's weekend in Dover fires up next with Xfinity Series racing. Right here on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Immediately following qualifying. So here are the 10 drivers that have qualified for the final round in Dover. And that is the order from Bubba Wallace to Chase Elliott. Three Toyotas, 2 Fords, 5 Chevys in the final round.
And then again, 7 of these 10 drivers, you saw that list from Blaney down, 1 lap on their tires.
And Bubba Wallace, whose first lap was fastest, and said he breathed it through 3 and 4 on his second lap. So.
And I know you asked me 1 lap or 2. You're going to run 2. You're going to run 2. You have nothing to lose. Nothing to lose whatsoever. These tires are pretty much done after this.
A lot of guys getting up to speed. It's so important here. See some guys floated up high a little bit in 3, get the momentum wound up when you cross that line. It's like a light switch. You get in that thing, you've got to be on point, set on kill right now, as fast as you can possibly go. Got a little bit wiggly down into 3 again. Car stayed under him though. He's able to get back to the gas pretty good.
.2281.
Yeah, he ran a 54 earlier in that first session.
I think that wiggle, that little affected him. It did it again right there.
That little toss and catch, it's almost become the norm down there in turn 3.
Not for the fast ones. Not for who's going to sit on the pole. You need that grip. That's the difference between this place. If you're chasing this car and it's out from underneath of you, getting into 3 every single lap, you're not going to be able to be aggressive with that wheel, and more so be aggressive under passing conditions in tomorrow's race.
Chris Buescher in the final round for RFK Racing.
Really wrapped that bottom well. Got back to the throttle. A lot of times when you run that low in the corner, it gets you in trouble up off. But you can see already light years ahead of Bubba Wallace. It's going to be a good lap.
47.
That's faster than he ran in round 1. He ran a 51. Good lap.
Car was stable. Wrapped the bottom, like I said. Didn't give up momentum up off the corner. Never had to get back out of the gas, keep from knocking the wall down. I don't think this is going to be as good, but nonetheless, yeah, you see, he got it way up high. That's the lap that I was thinking. When you run that low, you start to come up out of that hole and you got a handful of wheel in it. You're just asking too much out of those tires. They won't hold and you got to lift at the wall. But man, a 47 on that first lap, pretty stout.
Denny Hamlin this year, other than the win at Richmond and then 3 laps down at Martinsville, every other race he's had something happen. Some self-inflicted, some not.
Yeah, speeding penalties, just
You know, it's so true. I mean, and look back at that race. That's really the only difference between that and every other race is that pit call, you know, by his crew chief, Chris Gabehart, making that winning combination, that winning call on that strategy in Richmond was the savior of their season so far.
Falls off to a 56, drop of just 3 100ths.
Well, every driver here on out, they're sitting on just 1 lap on those qualifying tires, starting with Ryan Blaney here in this 12.
Okay, he was the first to do it, went to the top of the board on lap 1 and shut it down.
A little loose, getting back to the throttle, a little slow there. Car looks free, you can see it in his hands. Might be set up, you know, with that 1 lap. It's so important. Both of those cars you just saw that were stable, both of those cars had 2 laps scrubbed into those tires. This might be an instance where the second lap's faster. A little too light on his feet. I think it's loose.
Yeah, it just seemed like he was out of the throttle quite a bit down in 1 and 2.
It looks nervous. His hands on the wheel, his throttle. You hear him kind of tap dancing on that throttle. Not confident of just laying it down to the floorboard.
He picks up to a 61, but still sits 3rd.
Yeah, from a 45 in that first round. Definitely not happy with that. Here's my guy.
Not gonna really come close on this first lap.
I can hear it in his throttle. You hear him part throttle. Listen to this. Especially in 3 and 4, never really fully come out of the gas, and I actually think that hurt him. I think that drove a push into his car. Wasn't able to get down to the wide open throttle as good as he needed to.
I know we got some heavy hitters still to go, but that lap by Chris Buescher, that's a pretty potent lap.
You know, it's amazing how well you can see it. I mean, it just looks stable, right? Looked very comfortable. And I think that's exactly what he's telling his crew chief right there with his hand input and everything else. See, these guys are way more nervous getting into the corner with their hands than he was.
Having to play with the throttle on the exit of the corner.
I think Suarez is much like his teammate Chastain. You know, we saw those guys looking at data and comparing notes and SMT data. I feel like they're consciously trying to hold throttle down at a 0.5%, you know, and it's hurting their exit speed. Carrying too much speed in the middle and hurting them up off.
And Suarez is slower on lap 2.
I think, again, I wasn't there for the conversation, but it's almost like it was a conscious effort to try to improve that rolling speed with part throttle, and I think it made the car tight in the middle.
Kyle Busch will be the 7th of 10 drivers to take to the clock. Chris Buescher looking for his first career pole. The last pole for Roush Fenway, now RFK. That was Talladega 2017.
He was a little high getting off the 2. Car looks tight.
Yeah, nobody has rode the bottom of the racetrack like Chris Buescher so far.
You see him rolling up and completely out of the gas, waiting on the throttle. That tells me he's tight. Can't pick up that gas and carry the momentum. You see it trending even worse now. Starting to see a bigger smile on old Chris's face now, huh? Some heavy hitters. He's holding off.
He'll be in at least the first 2 rows come Sunday.
Well, it's Chris Buescher versus Hendrick Motorsports now.
Exactly. Yep. With William Byron's car in the garage. Here is Alex Bowman. Jamie?
Well, you guys talked about it. The 18 said plowing tight junk. And Denny Hamlin standing next to me right now just said this second group's at a disadvantage because the tires are so hot right now.
Lap less tires too, Denny.
Fourth for Bowman. 22.62.
You can see it. It was a little flatter getting in with his entrance. Shot up the racetrack just a little bit, but man, I'm telling you, he's within striking distance if he can get through 3 and 4. Got tight.
Yeah, nothing like Chris Buescher through the middle of 3 and 4.
Second lap is slower.
Starting to feel better about you, Chris.
It's coming pretty rare for a driver to pick up on lap 2, it looks like, in this session, other than Blaney and Ross Chastain.
Having a cycle on your tires, though, that doesn't surprise me as much on this second round. The car's wiggling its tail, a little loose, nervous through 1 and 2. Got through 3 and made an adjustment on his entrance to 3, got better.
Third for Larson, 22.55. Fastest of the Chevys so far.
He rifled it off in the corner there, went for it, shot up the track a little bit, paid the price, but he definitely got him a handful of throttle off into the corner.
It's going to have to happen right here, though.
I think so. It's not pointed right, starting to get tight. I think the tires start to go away on that next cycle of a run.
And he falls off 6/100ths on lap 2. So Chris Buescher will be on the front row tomorrow.
We need a heart rate monitor on those guys.
Yeah. Chase Elliott fastest in round 1, but since he went last, to Denny Hamlin's point, his tires have had the least amount of time to cool down since that run.
He's right there.
He gets through 3 and 4. This is going to be a pretty sporty first lap.
Get it. How about that? Got loose.
Fourth with a 60. He needs 13/100ths of a second.
You see it right there. He just rolled the bottom so much faster and carried that momentum off to the corner. It's one thing to roll that bottom through the middle with speed, but if you can carry that speed up off the corner and not have to get out of the gas and check the throttle, you're going to be on the pole, which is exactly where he is.
Elliott is fourth, and Chris Buescher has become the 4th driver to score his first career pole this year. Jamie.
First pole for RFK. Best start for you guys. Chris, I saw the smile when you got out of the car, though. What does this mean for you, for this entire organization?
Thanks, dude. That's just awesome right there. That was good effort through practice, unloaded, and first group, and was hunting some speed. Brad went out there and put down some really great laps, and came over and saw some things, relayed it, and everyone did a good job working on this thing. Got our fast on Mustang on the front row, so that's a heck of a start. Just a good momentum. Proud to do it here in Dover. I love this place. It's a ride. We are flying around here, so that's more throttle time than I think we've ever had around Dover, than I've had. So just really neat. Proud of everybody, and now we just got to keep it rolling.
All right, Chris Buescher gets the pole at Dover, Mike.
Chris Buescher's Ford will start from the pole next to Denny Hamlin's Toyota on Sunday at the Monster Mile. Xfinity Race Day is next, followed by the Xfinity Race from Dover. Keep it right here on FS1. More NASCAR coming your way now.